These are the most contentious episodes and scenes from Heartland, from Georgie's absence for the entire season to Amy moving on from Ty's death. Now, the writers and showrunners are to thank for the fact that Heartland is not particularly controversial. They know how to deliver an excellent family drama with romance, found families, and horses. However, this does not imply that the show has not featured a few contentious instances at times. In fact, it has. There is no perfect show. On the off chance that you love Heartland and have observed each of the 16 seasons, you without a doubt understand what I will discuss. One of the show's most talked about moments comes first. Georgie's season-long absence that was completely unaccounted for. On Heartland, Georgie, portrayed by Alicia Newton, has emerged as a fan favorite. After all, we've all seen her grow up on the show. Therefore, it was somewhat disappointing when Georgie was not featured at all in season 15 of the show. Not a single scene or moment captured on camera. Where she was and whether or not she was even on the show were not mentioned in any official communication. Hello guys, hey! So is some kind of problem with Phoenix? Or has it ended? No, nothing is amiss. One of the most beloved characters had left without a single goodbye, which worried fans. Fortunately, Georgie finally showed up in season 16, and we learned why she had disappeared. Georgie declared her retirement from show jumping upon her return. Amy took him for a leap prior, and he cherished it. That's good news indeed, is it not? She expected to dive deeper into herself, find some peace with the way that she'll at no point ever show hop in the future and continue on. Amber Marshall's Amy Fleming, however, recognized that something was off. At last, Georgie uncovered that each time she showed hop, she remembered her mishap in her mind. Georgie, you enjoy riding horses and jumping. You already have that, and it won't go away. By the end of the season, Georgie had made the decision to travel to Brussels to work with a specialized trainer. He assisted me through my mishap, and my recuperation with loving no other person at any point might have kept my spirits high. Who knows how to assist victims of terrible accidents in getting back into jumping? So it's impossible to tell where this story will lead. Will Georgie be back in season 17, or will she be gone for another season? Georgie's season 15 non-appearance was exceptionally questionable for fans, fundamentally on the grounds that no one realized what was happening. This absence was not discussed either on or off the show. As this was just after a primary person's passing, which we'll get into later, fans expected the most exceedingly terrible and stressed that Georgie's portrayer, Alicia Newton, had likewise chosen to end her experience on the show. Fortunately, that was not the case. However, Georgie's upcoming storyline, or lack thereof, may not be revealed to fans until the 17th season. Georgie was absent throughout season 15 and only appeared in 2 episodes in season 16 when she returned. This could mean that, like in the previous season, we only get to see Georgie in a few episodes in season 17, which would be terrible. However, now that viewers are aware that Alicia Newton has other roles and jobs, which is why she hasn't been on Heartland, they might feel a little better about her absence. However, even if this is the case, it will still be disappointing to not see Georgie throughout the season. Clearly, Heartland's absence of Georgie is not the only contentious aspect. I married. For many years. You don't have to ask me to marry you to see how much I love you. Is this possibly the show's most contentious issue? The passing of T. Borden, of course. The writers at Heartland made the decision to kill off Graham Wardle's portrayal of T because he decided he wanted to leave the show and change his life and career. After all, Ty and Amy were together for an entire season. Especially now that they had a child, Ty wouldn't just leave his wife. Amy might never understand why I'm running away right now. Until they decided to kill Ty, it became impossible to write him off. In season 14, Ty kicked the bucket from complexities in the wake of being shot. He's gone, granddad, and he won't be returning. Which was a significant turning point for the show because Ty had been a consistent character from the beginning. It's no big surprise this scene and each second after Tay's shooting, and until his demise turned into a piece disputable for fans. It was still difficult for many to say goodbye to Ty, despite everyone's respect for Graham Wardle's desire to move on and do something new with his life. Ty and Amy were the show's primary foundation in almost every way. Individuals adored seeing what this couple would do straight away, similarly, however much they cherished seeing them at long-last social affair back when they were kids. So to see T pass on and abandon Amy and their girl to carry on with an existence without her dad was most certainly lamentable and somewhat dubious. In the end, no one likes to watch their favorite character lead the show. The remainder of the season was pretty depressing as a result of T's death in season 14. His arthritis continues to exist. I would rather not hurt him. Oh, he won't be hurt by gentle exercise. Even Amber Marshall agreed with this. Marshall seemed to be aware of how heartbreaking and contentious this exit was when asked about it. She stated that season 14 was extremely gloomy. I have to admit that the Heartland family was just shattered by an event, which I'm sure you are aware of. What's more, it destroyed us a smidgen as well, since this is a person that has been with us all for 13 to 14 years. In numerous ways, Marshall made sense of why it was so difficult for some to acknowledge that Ty was completely gone. Who relishes saying their goodbyes to someone they had followed on television for the previous 10 years? Amy and the other characters on Heartland have tried, which is obviously easier said than done, to move on and continue with their own lives following Ty's death over the course of the last few seasons. Our next contentious scene from the show is prompted by Amy's determination to provide a happy life for her daughter. Sometimes when someone suddenly leaves, they create a gap. That's right, we're discussing the way that Amy appears to be prepared to continue on. Amy's first need after T's death was to deal with her grief. She had lost her significant other, the man she adored, her dearest companion, and the dad of her kid. There was a lot to handle, but over time, she started doing exactly that and coping with her grief. Some fans thought she was moving on from Ty's death too quickly, even though she did grieve. Therefore, the debate was already taking place, and now, following the previous season, it is a highly contentious moment. Amy made it clear in the 16th season that she was ready to move on from her relationship. This storyline quickly sparked outrage among fans. Fans are still not quite ready to see Amy fall in love with someone who is not Ty. Despite the fact that Ty will undoubtedly never return to the show, it is not a supernatural return from the dead type of show. Obviously, some fans will stick by Amy through thick and thin, but many fans still have to deal with seeing her on her own without Ty. It creates the impression that the following couple of seasons will show Amy continuing on sincerely. Whether this is with somebody currently on the show or with another person that still can't seem to be presented, I'm unsure. However, regardless of who it is, I have a feeling that a lot of fans won't be overly happy about everything. It is still a contentious plot point. Fans may come around to the idea of Amy moving on as the seasons progress and Ty's untimely death approaches. This might be easier to accept if Amy is paired with someone with whom she has great chemistry. Be that as it may, up to that point, it seems to be this storyline will stay hard for some to acknowledge and will be dubious to some. Friends, there you have it. Heartland's most contentious episodes included Amy moving on too quickly following Ty's death and Georgie's unexpected